G'day, Brad from KLR Automotive here, and this time we've got something a little bit older for you. This is my own Series 3 that's been in my family for the last 40 odd years. This is actually the vehicle I learnt to drive on. Now, I've been sort of slowly fixing it up and bringing it back to original condition. We had the engine out a few weeks ago to do a rear main oil seal. We noticed the exhaust system was quite old, quite rusty, and the rear half of it is actually not original at all. So we're going to pull all that out and put a new system in, and we're going to show you how to do that. Before we start pulling this apart, I just wanted to show you a few things. First of all, it's a non-standard muffler. It's probably one my father had fitted 40 odd years ago. It would have been cheap, universal, available. But the other thing, you can see a couple of pinholes here that are starting to leak. What a lot of people don't realise is a lot of exhaust systems, particularly on petrol engines, rust from the inside out. And that's what we're seeing here. That would be a whole heap of pinholes starting to form there, particularly on the bend. And the reason being is petrol engines in particular produce a lot of moisture in their exhaust gases. So, and you can see here where I'm holding my hand, we've got a cold start, and you can see all that water that's basically been blown out the exhaust. That water normally collects in the muffler here, and that's why mufflers are normally the first thing to rust out. The next thing I wanted to show you is rusty nuts and bolts. Now, if there's anywhere on a vehicle you're going to get a rusty nut and bolt that's potentially seized or going to be a problem, it's going to be on an exhaust system. It's just a harsh reality, and I can almost guarantee when you come to do yours, you're going to have this sort of problem. Now, it's preferable, if you can, to squirt all this down the day before you intend to do this job, and even come back and give it a couple of squirts and give it a good soaking. Now, while we're under here, I just wanted to quickly show you this. You can see there somebody's put a weld between the bracket and the pipe. Now, this isn't actually a bad thing to do, because that little tack of weld stops small movement becoming big movement. So over time, it prevents any sort of rattles. But the trick, of course, is to make sure you put that weld somewhere where you can cut it off easily if you've ever actually got to pull the pipe apart. Something I just wanted to show you quickly here was the difference between these two pipes. Both of these pipes are exactly the same age. This one here is the engine pipe, so that's closer to the motor, and it runs much hotter, and you can see that that's got a lot more external rust on it than the rear section. So the way it normally goes is the front pipe, or the engine pipe, rusts from the outside in, whereas the rear pipe, or the rear muffler, rusts from the inside out because of that moisture we were talking about earlier. And of course, while you're underneath of the WD-40, don't forget about the nuts up on the exhaust manifold. Because I can guarantee you, if you're going to have dramas with nuts anywhere, it's going to be those ones. Right, now that we've talked about the old stuff under the vehicle, let's have a look at the new stuff we're going to fit. So what we have here is actually a very faithful copy of a genuine system for the short wheelbase 2.25 litre petrol. That's what this vehicle is. It'll suit both the Series 2, the 2A and the Series 3 with the downward exit on the engine pipe. Now, it's made up of 3 pipes. You've got the engine pipe itself, the intermediate pipe that runs from the back of the gearbox over the rear diff, and then we have the rear muffler, of course, and the exit pipe out the side. Right, now it's pretty important to understand there's different exhaust kits available for the series vehicles. Now, it depended on a number of things. First of all, and obviously which engine you had. The second one was whether it's short wheelbase or long wheelbase. And then the other factor that a lot of people don't take into account is whether you had twin fuel tanks fitted, or even if it's a station wagon with a fuel tank up the back. Now, we can help you work out which exhaust system you should have, and the other thing to bear in mind, what may be fitted to the vehicle now may not be the correct system for that vehicle. So if you're looking for something more original or more genuine to bring it back to original spec, we need to work out exactly which system you need. Right, now the last thing I just want to cover before we start fitting this system is that our exhaust kits don't come with a fitting kit because you may not actually need one. And on this vehicle we won't be using one, but if you do need a fitting kit, we do have them available. Righto, the time has come to hook in and get the old stuff out. Now, the way we normally do this, we start at the back of the vehicle and just work our way forward. It's preferable to undo nuts and bolts and have everything come apart, but I know with exhaust systems there's plenty of times where you've got no choice but to crack out the angle grinder and just start cutting away. On this vehicle, I've already gone over all the actual exhaust mounts, and they're all in pretty good condition. So we're just going to undo the clamps down the bottom and leave the actual mounts in place, but we will end up using new nuts and bolts all the way through. Which brings me to a very, very important point, and the young'uns out there may not understand, but these vehicles aren't metric. They are an imperial vehicle. They've got a delicate blend of UNF, UNC, Whitworth, BSW, BSF. you name it, it's in there. So just be aware that you might need a different set of spanners. Right, well that's basically the hard part done now. All of the old system's out. I've gone and I've had a wire brush up in there just to clean up the threads on the manifold. Now we're pretty much ready to start putting the new system in, and that's pretty much just the reverse of taking it out. We start at the front, work our way back. What we also do is we just put the nuts and bolts in, loosely bolt everything together, and once the whole system's in, we come back through and tighten everything up and check the alignment. Right, just a quick little point. Some of you might notice this is a curved fitting here, like an olive fitting. These are essentially self-sealing, so you don't really need to use any sort of sealant on it. You can use some ultra copper or exhaust putty if you want to, but really it's unnecessary. Now here's a little trick that I'll pass on to you because my old man passed it on to me, and I can guarantee this is going to save some grief down the track. Anti-seize. Best friend when it comes to exhaust nuts and bolts. Put a bit on every single thread and it might just save you some problems down the track. Right, so there we have it. A pretty easy job to fit a replacement near enough to genuine exhaust system that suits this sort of vehicle. You would have noticed I spent a little bit of time underneath jiggling everything into place and checking clearance against the chassis and the bodywork. That's quite important so you don't get rattles down the track. Just bear in mind as well, your life will be easier if you use plenty of WD-40 and soak things down. Also bear in mind most of your fixings and bolts under there are going to be UNF or UNC. And one last point I want to make, we sort of touched on it, but you saw the amount of water that came out of that exhaust system when we started it up. If you have a historic vehicle like this one and you don't use it terribly often, the best thing you can do for that vehicle is fire it up once a month and take it for a good run, get some good heat into that exhaust system to burn that moisture out, and you'll find your exhaust will last for years, if not decades. All right, well, I think enough talk. Let's take it for a run.